Hello geeks. So in this video we are going to talk about Python strings. So let me share you the agenda for this video. In this video we will be seeing the basic introduction about Python strings, and then we will use this str keyword mainly for some typecasting purpose, and then of course we will see how indexing works in Python strings, and of course the other one is like how we can access a Python string, right? So I will be telling you three techniques for that. Like one is using while loop, using for loop, and the using like in statements, right? So that's all. Let's start with the first one. So basically, if you talk about the introduction to Python strings, so a string can be like if you have worked on it in any other languages like C, Java. So basically string is same in Python as well. So a string in Python or even in any other language refers to the collection of characters, right? Which can be a digit, it can be a lowercase character, it can be a like uppercase character or a special character, right? So this all comes under string. So basically, a valid representation for a string can be done in three ways. It can be a single quoted, it can be a double quoted, of course, or even we can denote some of the strings in triple quotes. Triple quotes are mainly used for those strings which are multi-line, right? Okay, so this is a valid representation of string. Let me populate some value. Hello, hello, and hello here as well. So yeah, all this are the different forms of strings, right? So now let's proceed with the other thing, which is like str keyword in Python strings. So if I open my notes, so I will just show you what it looks like. So like before moving out to this str function, I would like to tell you one property of string, which is like strings are immutable. Immutable objects are those objects whose content cannot be changed, right? So one of the other example of immutable objects is, of course, the like if you talk about tuples, then tuples are also immutable, right? If you talk about mutable objects, on the other hand, they can be changed, right? So list is most commonly used mutable object, right? So that's one thing. Okay, so now let's see what str is. So in Python we usually represent a string with a keyword called str. So we can typecast any of the data type to a string via str function. Okay, so I'm going to write a short program for this, where we will use str function just to typecast one data type to string, right? So here in this case I'm using an integer value. Okay, so let's print the type of this value first, type of n. Let's see what it displays. So it is giving of class n. So this n is a variable storing the integer value. That's clear, right? So now I will just typecast this using str function. Okay, now I will again print the type of n. Let's see now this time what it shows. Okay, now the class has been changed to str. So this str function can be used as a typecaster. You can use it to typecast from one value to the another value, right? So this is one thing. So now the other thing is like how indexing works in Python. So indexing like starts from zero as well. If you talk about Python strings, then the indexing starts from zero, and then we have one, two, etc., right? Till the length of the string minus one, right? So if the length of string is L, then our indexing would be from 0, 1, 2, so on to L minus 1. Okay, now that's correct. Okay, this is one thing. Now if I can show you that chart basically, so you will be able to get the idea of this. Okay, so yeah, indexing in Python strings. So just like arrays list said, indexing of string characters also starts with 0. For the sample side code of Greeks, you can see the example listed below. So if you see this, it starts from 0 and it goes up to 12. It means that length of this string is 13. Let's count that: 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 5. Yeah, 13. So length of this string is 13, and we start the indexing from 0. So it takes the characters from 0 index to 12 index. Okay, so you can see even the spaces are being provided a allocation space. Okay, Also, there is one unique thing in Python strings, that negative indexing is also possible. Negative index is just like, it starts from right to left. Okay, positive based indexing starts from left to right. Okay, and the numbers are indexes are basically denoted as positive integers, whereas in case of negative indexing, everything starts from right to left. Okay, and indexing starts from -1. Okay, so that is one thing that we have to note. When we go from left to right, indexing starts from 0. When we come from right to left, indexing starts from -1. So this is how you can represent a string in Python on the basis of zero base or negative indexing. Okay, one thing is like, for example, if the site is this string having the value code of geeks, then site at 0 would be C. Okay, and site is -13 would be C as well. Site at 12 would be, where's 12, this one, S. Okay, and site at -1 equals to S, right? So this is how negative indexing works in Python as well. Now moving on to the next topic, which is like how we can just access this Python string, right? So I told you that there are three ways of doing that. First is using while loop, the other one is using for loop, and the last one is using in statement. Okay, so let's check out everything one by one. So prerequisite for this is like, you should be knowing about all these three things. Like you should be having some experience while working with the for loop, while loop, and this in statement. If you are not having it, you can just scroll down to the playlist. You will find the videos that are dedicated for this topic only, right? But if you are comfortable with this, you are at the right place. Let's start with the further steps. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to define a string as equals to hello. Okay, so now in this string I'm going to access each and every character using while loop. Okay, so the first step is like defining the uh, iterator variable. Okay, so we have defined I as 0. Now we will write the condition as per the syntax of while loop. So here the condition would be like, I should be always less than the length of our list, or now in this case it's a string. Okay, so length of our string. So yes, this length function can be used to find the length of the list. For example, if I just quickly show you how it works. Okay, so this is our string. I will just try to print len of s. It will return me the length of that string, which is 5. Okay, yeah, 5, that's correct. Okay, so now let's quickly hop to our task, which was to access each and every element of the string using while loop. Okay, we will simply print s at I. Okay. So if we print I, then it would be like index. We would be printing the index of it. But if you want to print s at I, it will give us the value directly. Okay. So let's try to run this first. Okay. Okay. Hello. I don't want this to come in the new line, so I will just write the end statement. Okay. Hello. That's correct. Okay, so now this is the one way. Of course, if you want to traverse a particular string in the reverse order, we can also do this. But only thing we have to do is like, we have to change the condition and modify the initial value of I, which in our case, like since we want to access it from index 4 eventually, right? This one. So h is at 0. Okay, this e is at 1, 2, 3, 4. So we want it to be 4. So we don't want to hard code it because length may vary as per the strings. So to keep it globally, what we will do is like, we will write it as length of s minus 1. Okay, so this is one thing. Yeah, so now I will just change the condition. I should be always greater than 0. Now I will just simply print s at I, and instead of increasing it, we have to decrease it. Now let's try to print the output. Okay, now we are getting the string in reverse order using while loop. Okay, now the next thing is like, let's try to access it using for loop. So for I in, of course, we will be using range function for this. So range function accepts three parameters. First is the start, and then the other one is stop. Of course, in our case, it would be length of the string, and then the other one is the step size. So by default, it takes one as a step size. So we will remove it, print s at I, same thing, right? And of course, we will append some empty space at the end of every element so that it doesn't get displayed on the new line. Okay, now let's try to print this. So yeah, you will get the hello over here. Okay, this is one thing. Now what else? Yeah, using in statement. So eventually we are using this in statement as well. But what if we don't want to use this range? Okay, so for that also, I'm going to write a code which is for I in s, just print I. So what it is doing is like, as of now we are accessing the index, right? We are running loop for the index and we are accessing the value or the character at that particular index. Now I is eventually the character itself because you are traversing it directly, right? So for I in s, just print I. So I in the first iteration would be h, then it would be e, it would be l, it would be l, and then o, right? So let's try to print this. Okay, so it is also printing the hello. So we have achieved all three techniques now. So now a few thing I would like to mention, like this is not the end for string because of course it has other important things like uh, slicing is one of the major concept that we have in Python string, and it is one of the most asked concept in any of the interviews, tech interviews, right? Or even in the online assessment in the form of output questions and all. So yeah, that is eventually the good topic to understand. Yes, we will be discussing that in the upcoming videos that are only dedicated to this only, right? And then there are some minor operations on the string as well, like we have concatenation and all these things, right? So we will be seeing that in the upcoming videos. Okay, so yes, as I say in all my videos, if you want to get access to the notes, you simply have to visit this page, which is indeed our own website. Okay, so you can find each and everything over there with the example, with the code, and with the explanation, right? So you can just access it anytime. I will be dropping out the link in the description box. So for now, that's all in this video. I will see you in the next one. Thanks.